Hi, it's Andy again, and I have another video tutorial for Android and parse.com. This tutorial is going to be on the meal spotting sample app that's available on the parse.com website and on GitHub as a tutorial. So this sample application hasn't been updated in a really long time, and it does use a lot of old APIs and that have been relocated, and it's not even built with Gradle in mind. So the best way to kind of just move it over to Gradle is to just create the app as a blank application and then move the files over from the downloads. So if I pull over parse.com, I've had to do a lot of fixing as well because there's a lot of really old APIs, so I had to check out some stuff. If we go to parse.com, this is actually the new beta dashboard. But if we go to docs, and then under Android, you select tutorials, select Android again, and then here's the meal spotting app. If you go to get the code, it'll take you to the GitHub website. So github.com/parseplatform/meal spotting. It hasn't been updated in 2 years, as you can see, and it's really old and uses old APIs. So there's some fixes you have to do to get it to run. So download that zip. I have it here in my downloads. I've extracted it. So this is the plain app as is. I didn't even bother taking over the IC launcher or whatever. We have to make some changes in the Android manifest. We have to make some changes in one of the files I actually won't show you is because I have my parse ID and client ID and app ID in there is in values strings, but just copy that over and then you can put your own in there. So I have it here, and I referenced that 2 strings as my parse app ID and the client ID here. So I don't have to give it to you. I'm actually just showing you here as a reference, but just copy that over to your values. You can copy your the styles over. They only go up to version 14, which they're using Holo, but there's a lot of other problems with this app other than just the Holo aspect of it. It's obviously not materialized or anything like that. We're going to work on updating this and kind of building this from scratch. But this is kind of how you can see and get the app working at first. Another thing you're going to have to do is actually import the parse dependencies. So what you can do is, here are the 3 that dependencies that you're going to have to bring in. The parse SDK, which is currently, as of January 4th, 2016, on 1.12.0. And then you probably don't actually need the bolts. You can get rid of this. But 2 of the classes that this app requires that were removed from the SDK were the parse image view and parse query adapter. Those have now been moved over to parse UI, which is one of the fixes that I had to find and get. But you can get these from clicking the plus icon from, so this is project structure, click on your app as the module, go to dependencies, and then add a library, a Maven library dependency, and you can actually search. Just go parse on here and hit enter, and you'll get some of the, so here's the parse SDK, and then here's the UI widget. And for the bolts, if you actually do need them, I'm actually not sure you do. You can pull up the bolts and you'll see them there as version 1.3.0. Okay, so now we've added our dependencies. Everything should build with those in there. However, there's some edits we have to make to our Android manifest. So we're just going to copy these over from the file here. But there's a few things that you'll notice that's a little different. This API, if you try to import this, it'll be deprecated, and actually I might not even let you do it. So what has been changed is actually you have to change that to camera 2. So we're using the camera 2 API. We need to make sure we add the application here on the application side, since when we make this file, we're going to have this already built. So I'm just copying little bits and pieces over from the XML file here over. So we have just 2 activities. So the meal list activity and then the new meal activity. So those are the 2 activities that we need to reference here in the manifest, which are meal list activity and new meal activity. All right, so putting those changes in there should get the app to run. One thing you might notice is if we try to run this app, since we are using here in the gradle file, since we're targeting version 23, which is and compiling against version 23, that would be Marshmallow. If you try to run this and then add, I'm going to pull it up on my phone, and then I can show you this screenshot of what the app looks like. If I can pull up the app. Okay, here we go. And the reason why I'm pulling it up on my phone is because we want to use the camera. I don't have a webcam attached to this computer, so I really can't show you what the camera problem would be. But if I take a little screenshot, I'll just take a small screen capture and show you what the issue would be. Whoa. So here's our main activity, which is the list view. If we select the little menu at the top to go to add a meal, let me refresh this. You'll see we'll have this icon here, which is a camera. If you are targeting the newest version of Android and you haven't requested permission to use the camera, you're going to get an error here. So I'm actually going to recreate that error. Just give me a second. Okay, so there's no permissions granted right now. So I'm going to try to select add a meal with a picture, and you'll see we'll get this error. For the blank screen, and just says no camera detected. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back into app info, permissions, and grant the permission of camera manually. And then when we go back and I can add via camera, you'll see my speaker. Yay, there's my speaker. Okay, so that's one of the main problems we're going to have with this app, is actually dealing with permissions and updating the look. So that's what I plan on doing, but I wanted to get you kind of on a starting page where we have a functional app, and then we're going to recreate this with material design in tow, and kind of have a good make this actually something we would theoretically want to publish, but not really, because this is parses samples app. All right, so hopefully this tutorial gets you on a starting page. We're gonna have little issues here with the camera, but just ignore that, the deprecated code. I may try to look into updating this so that we're using the camera 2 API, but it's not just as simple as just, oh, we'll just pick camera 2. No, it doesn't actually work that way. We would have to figure out what the new class is, which honestly I've never written an app that uses the camera for a surface view. So I'd have to look into this to actually update this, but we can do that at the end. That's not a big deal right now. We can even maybe load up the default camera app on the phone and then get the image back. That would probably actually be the more appropriate thing to do anyway. But if we go back into our we should have no errors. You'll probably get an error here if you didn't import the parse UI widget. So this is actually going to be mandatory for the image view and the query adapter, parse query adapter. So let's see, meal. This is just a basic object, a Java object, or it's called a parse object. So it's basically the same thing. But we're going to be, if you've ever used the Java object, this is going to look very familiar. It's just a bunch of getters and setters. Basically, every meal has a title, an author, a rating, and a photo as possible items that can get associated with it. And my guess is that since this is parse, they probably automatically do the ID for you in the cloud in the background. Here's our list activity. We're going to change this to an app compat activity in the future. And that should be it for now. As I read the docs this morning, I didn't see anything that had been updated to use a recycler view. So I would have to do some more digging. If there's a recycler view that's available to be used with the parse query adapter, or some kind of modification I can do to parse query adapter, I'll do it. But I'm going to have to do some more research on that one first. And then here's our there's not much to it. This is just an activity that replaces the view with a fragment. And then here's the actual new meal. So then this is going to have all the saving of the meal in the background to the cloud. But we'll go over this as we build the app step by step. Right now I just wanted to get you up and running. So just copy all the files over. You'll have a few drawables. I think 4 layouts. Yeah, 4 layouts. 1 menu item. And then the colors was added. This is actually, these are the default colors, so this actually isn't used. But we will use that when we materialize. We want our strings copied over and the styles. Okay, so just giving you a heads up of what the next series is going to be. We're going to update this app and actually make it worth something we would want to use. Another thing, I don't know if you noticed, at the very least, we're going to update this main activity if I don't get a recycler view in there. The item is so small. Like this, I can't even really show you how scale it is on the Nexus 6, but it's about half of a finger width height. This is really, really tiny. So we're going to make this more closer to the guidelines that are recommended for material design. So this is going to be a nice, decent, clickable list view item as well. All right, so hope you enjoyed this tutorial. There will be a lot more to come on the meal spotting app, and have a good day.